Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Good morning from Lahore, Pakistan, and Assalamu alaikum. I'm Dr. Javed Iqbal Khokar, Professor of Forensic Medicine and Toxicology. As I've started series of lecture on drowning, and this is the fourth lecture of this series. And the learning objective of today's lecture will be that I'll be discussing what are two most important diagnostic signs of drowning. And they are fine froth formation and cadaveric spasm. So starting with the lecture, drowning series number 4. There are two most important diagnostic signs of drowning. And they are, number 1, formation of froth. And number 2, the cadaveric spasm. The formation of froth is basically, it happens when there are respiratory efforts which continues and the air passages and the lungs, they are filled with water. This water irritates the mucous membrane, the mucosal lining of the respiratory tract, and which will result in secretion of mucus. So water, respiratory mucus, and the air, they will be churned up due to violent respiratory efforts, and it produces a fine froth which blocks the air passages. So this is how it appears. It is so fine and copious that if you wipe from the body, from the nose or the mouth, and put a slight pressure on the chest, it will reappear. So it is fine and copious. And this blocks the air passages during life, and it remains even after death. Then the cadaveric spasm. Cadaveric spasm is basically the record of last volitional activity of life, because the person in the efforts of surviving, he efforts violently to grasp something, and those things which are grasped in the hands, they remain grasped in their hands. They are either sand, the weed, or whatever is in contact, and the person who is drowning, he tries to save himself, get hold of them, and they goes into intense spasm. And this is the last volitional activity at the time of death. So, as in other cases of asphyxial death, there are convulsion and spasm of the small group of muscles. Similarly, in drowning, it happens that there is contraction commonly in the small muscles of the hands, and it continues without going into primary relaxation. That we know that after death, immediate there is loss of sensation, loss of nerve supply, and there is primary flaccidity. The limbs, they will fall, every muscle will go into primary relaxation. But these muscles which are going into cadaveric spasm in all emotional extreme anxiety or cadaveric spasm in drowning and mountain fatalities, these muscles goes into intense spasm. They do not pass into primary flaccidity and they remain in rigid form. So that is the cadaveric spasm. And in such spasm, the hand may close on weeds, mud, sand, branch of a tree, or whatever article which is present nearby, the person tries to get hold of it. And these will remain tightly clenched in the hands. And this is the proof of ante-mortem drowning. That means the person was alive, he tried to save himself, he grasped that thing, and it remains grasped in his hands. That is the sign of ante-mortem drowning. So like this, the person has grasped the grass or the weeds, and they remain tightly clenched in his hands. So thank you very much. This is all about this lecture. I'll continue the topic of drowning in the next lecture. Take care. Bye-bye. Allah Hafiz. Please subscribe to my channel, and this is my channel name, Dr. Javed Iqbal Kokhar.